Hi everyone. In chapter 2 we learned a lot of terminologies. For instance, variables, constant variables, and program modularization. For a lot of students, when they first time to learn the logic, they have hard time to understand what is a variable, what is declaration of variable, and what is especially the modularization. What are those? I have no idea. What are you talking about? I don't understand. A lot of students have this concern. So in order to give you an example, I'm going to show you with the same the JavaScript program to show you what is variable and how to declare variable, and what is the constant, what is a temporal variable, what all this terminology we talk about in this class. This is also my folder. I have two files here. The first one is a bad JavaScript example. This is a JavaScript example without using temporal variable, without using constant variable. So I name it as a bad JavaScript example. That means it's not very good, right? And also I have the same program do the same thing. This is called good JavaScript example. So let's open this one. Like I mentioned, they do the same thing, but one is a good program, one is a bad program. Let me open the first one, the bad program, with Firefox to run this one. You can see this is the interface, allow you to input a diameter and input a height, then let you calculate the volume. I don't know how many of you remember the formula to calculate a cylinder's volume. I don't know how many of you remember. Once I asked my student, only 1 out of 15 or 16 students remember that formula to calculate a volume of a cylinder. So the formula is, for a cylinder, if you want to calculate the volume, the formula is radius times radius times pi, which is 3.14, right? And times the height of the cylinder. So this is the formula. In this application, if I allow you to enter a diameter and the height, if the volume is more than 1000, I will display the size is too big, the volume is too big, right? If the volume is more than 1000, I will display the result 1000. If the volume is less than 50, I will display the volume is too small. And if the volume is in between, I will display the volume is okay. So this is the application. In this, the first one, I'm going to type 20 as diameter and height as 10. So in this case, you can see if the diameter is 20, the radius should be half of the diameter, right? Which is 10. So 10 plus 10, which is 100. 100 times multiplied by pi, which is 3.14. So 100 multiplied 3.14 should be 314, right? And times height, which is 10. So which is, in this case, the total volume should be 3140. This is more than 1000, so I should display the size is too big. Yeah, the volume 3140, right, is too big. This is based on the design of my program, right? If I change the diameter to be, for instance, let me keep it still 20, right? I change the height to be 1, and in this case, and make the number very easy to calculate, right? In this case, the radius still 10, right? 10 multiplied by 10, which is 100. 100 multiplied by 3.14, so you still get 314, right? And times the height is 1. So the total volume should be 314. In this case, the volume 314 is okay, right? It's because it is between 1000 and 50, right? If I draw another example, I change the diameter to be 6. So 6, in this case, the radius should be 3. So 3 times 3 and times 3.14 and times 1. So this value should be 28 and 28.26. So the volume less than 50, I will display too small, right? So this is the application using the web browser to display it. So let's go back to the code. Like I mentioned in chapter 1, if you want to look for the code or if you want to edit the code, you need to open it with Notepad, right? We open this with Notepad, and this is the part of the code to do the mass calculation, to calculate the volume of a cylinder, and based on the cylinder size, if greater than 1000, I will display is too big, right? If this is less than 50, the result volume less than 50, I will display the volume is too small. Every value between 50 and 1000, I will display okay, right? This is the code. You can see these two, diameter and height, these two are variable. I got the input from the interface, right? Let me move this Notepad editor aside. Let me open this one with Firefox and let you see the interface, right? This is interface. This is the input box. I can input diameter. This is the input box. I can input height, right? And back to the code. Where the code? The code is here, right? The code is here. The code is here. Back to the code. Back to the code. I use one variable to have the diameter value you input from here. I use a height variable to hold the value you input from in the height input box, right? And this is something you don't need to worry about. This is the JavaScript method to get the input value, right? After I have the diameter and the height, I can do the mass calculation. Radius equals to diameter divided by 2. I got radius times radius, right, time to pi, which is 3.14, and times height. By the way, the star symbol, the star here is the symbol to represent multiplication in JavaScript. So we use a star to represent the calculation of multiplication. So radius multiplied by radius multiplied by pi multiplied by height, which this value is the volume. Then I need to check the volumes. If the volume greater than 1000, I will display is too big, right? If the volume is less than 50, I will display is too small. If the volume between 50 and 1000, I will display is okay, right? You can see in this example, I have variable to hold the input value, but I don't have any constant variable. I don't have a temporal variable. For this case, if I check the result volume greater than 1000 or not, less than 50 or not, between 50 and 1000 or not, you can see I copied the whole formula over again. You can see I copied them over again, here, here, and here, and here, right? And here. I copy it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, right? In this case, the reason I call this is a bad JavaScript example is, for instance, I want to change the pi from 3.14 to a more accurate value. How many times you need to change? You need to change from here, right? And you need to looking for all the 3.14, right? You need to change many times, and you may make a mistake, right? Like in this case, I already made a mistake, right? And you may miss some value, right? You may miss some value. So if you are interested, just count for me how many times I changed the 314, the pi value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I changed 5 times, right? Then I save it. I will get a more accurate result, for instance, right? So this is the example. I call it bad JavaScript example because I didn't use temporary variable and constant. So I have to, if I want to modify the value 3.14 for pi, I have to modify many times, right? If I made a mistake for this formula, I need to modify 5 times. I modify, copy, paste over again, right? So this is why the program works fine. That can give me the volume, right? But it's not that good. So let's close this one and take a look. The one I called good JavaScript example, right? Go to CH120 and the JavaScript example chapter 2. So good JavaScript example. Let's run this one with Firefox to make sure it does the same thing as the one we named bad JavaScript example, right? Let's input 20 as the diameter and 10 as height. Let's calculate the volume, right? This one, the volume 3140 is too big, is right? And if I change this one to be 1, the volume is 300, 14 is okay. Between 50 and 1000, I display the volume is okay, right? If I make this one very smaller, make the volume is less than 50, the result should be the volume is 28.26 is too small, right? So the same, it works exactly the same, but let's take a look at the code.